My name is David, and I need to tell you something I should have realized 40 years ago. Because if I had understood this sooner, I wouldn't be sitting here today, alone, with nothing left but time. I spent my entire life chasing success, and I got it. I built a company worth $200 million. I had the corner office, the private jet, the house by the beach. People called me a success story. Business magazines wrote about me. Young entrepreneurs wanted to know my secrets. On the outside, my life looked perfect, but there's something nobody ever saw, something I ignored for decades. Because while I was building my empire, I was slowly destroying the only things that actually mattered, and I didn't realize it until it was too late. Let me take you back. 1978. I was 30 years old, newly married, and completely obsessed with proving myself. Everyone told me I was taking a risk, starting my own business, working for something uncertain, but I didn't care. I had one goal: to succeed, to win, to become someone. And so I worked 80-hour weeks, then 90, then more. Work became my identity, my purpose, my entire life. At first, Sarah understood. At least, that's what I told myself. She would smile and say, "We're building our future." And I believed her. I really did. But what I didn't understand was this: you don't build a future by destroying your present. In 1983, everything changed. Our daughter Emma was born. That should have been the happiest moment of my life, but I wasn't there. I was in a meeting, trying to close a deal that, in hindsight, didn't matter at all. I rushed to the hospital, but I missed it. I missed her first breath, her first cry, the first moment she looked into this world. And that wasn't the last thing I missed. I missed her first steps, her first words, her first day of school, her childhood. There's one memory that still haunts me. She was 7 years old. She came into my office holding a drawing, a simple drawing. Our family. Her eyes were full of excitement. She wanted me to see it, to acknowledge it, to just be there. But I was busy, on a call, chasing something I thought was important. So I raised one finger and said, "Just a minute." She waited. She stood there, silent, watching me, hoping I would turn around. But I didn't. After a few seconds, she quietly walked away. Years later, I found that same drawing, tucked away in a drawer. On the back, she had written, "I love you, Daddy, even though you're always busy." She was 7 years old, and already learning that she wasn't my priority. And I didn't feel that pain then, but I feel it now, every single day. By 1995, my company was worth $50 million. We finally made it. We moved into a mansion. We took our first real vacation in years. And I thought, see, it was all worth it. But something had changed. I just didn't notice it yet. Sarah wasn't the same anymore. She had built a life without me. Friends, routine, strength, independence. And Emma was growing up without me, becoming a teenager, learning who she was without her father. And I wasn't there to guide her, to protect her, to know her. I told myself, once she gets older, we'll reconnect. That later, I kept waiting for. In 2001, Emma went to college, Stanford. I was proud, of course I was. But when we dropped her off, I saw something that broke me. She hugged her mother for 5 full minutes, tightly, emotionally, like she didn't want to let go. Then she hugged me for 5 seconds, quick, light, almost mechanical. And in that moment, I felt something I had never felt before: distance, real distance, between a father and his daughter. That same year, Sarah asked for a divorce. 23 years of marriage, and she was done waiting. And she was right. I had married my work, not my wife. And I couldn't even argue, because deep down, I knew she was telling the truth. After the divorce, I went even harder into work. It became my escape, my comfort, my distraction. The company grew. More success, more money, more recognition. Forbes, interviews, awards, respect. But inside, I was empty. In 2009, I had a heart attack. 61 years old, sitting in my office, working late, like always. Chest pain, fear, silence. I drove myself to the hospital. No one to call, no one waiting. And that's when it hit me. What was all of this for? The money, the success, the empire? None of it mattered anymore, because the people I loved were no longer part of my life. In 2012, I sold the company. got more money than I could ever spend. But money can't fix what's already broken. I tried to reconnect with Emma. I called her, visited her, reached out. But time doesn't forgive. You can't go back and fix what you ignored for years. Today, we talk sometimes. We meet for lunch. We have conversations. But we don't have a relationship. Not really. She's polite, respectful, distant. And that's on me. She got married. She asked me to walk her down the aisle. I did. But when she gave her speech, she didn't talk about me. She talked about her mother. And that's when I understood what I had lost. That night, I cried. For the first time in decades. Not because I was weak, but because I finally understood the cost of my choices. Here's what I learned. Too late. Success means nothing if you lose the people you love along the way. And if you're watching this right now, and you're telling yourself, just a few more years, stop. Because those few years are the ones that matter most. Your job will survive, your business will continue, your emails will wait, but your child growing up will not. Your marriage will not. Your life will not. So if you take one thing from my story, let it be this. Be there. Not later, not someday, now. Because at the end of your life, you won't remember your achievements, but you will remember who you were there for. And if you're not careful, you might end up like me. Successful, wealthy, accomplished, but alone.